first off, I appreciate all of you for having me. I did park my car at Sky Harbor yesterday, and I'll be picking my car up from Sky Harbor parking lot today. So getting chosen to do these keynotes is something that has really amplified my life. And it's 8 o'clock. I'm not going to be over here cheerleading and rah-rahing you. I'm going to share some things with each and every one of you that I just found worked. And that's all I'm going to do in this next 45 minutes to what we have together. So getting selected to come to this keynote and come to Pi, one, I get to come to Chicago. Awesome. And Phoenix is like Chicago West. We got Giordano's, we got Lou Malnati's, we got Portillo's, but what we don't have is like mafia Italian places. And that's where I went last night. It was bullet holes, like it was awesome. And so I'm going to start with this story because I believe the world is smaller every single day. And we'll start off this. How many guys are on social media? Have some sort of social media? Perfect. We're going to come back to that down the road. What if I told you that in my life I was connected with the Blackhawks mascot? Oh, that's cool. I was like, all right, like send my man a Facebook little message. Hey, dude. Anytime I start with a hey, dude, I'm asking for something. So if you get a hey, dude from me or my man, you know I'm going to ask. Well, he got it and he answered. He said, yeah, I'll leave a ticket for you. And I'm like, all right, +1. We got a free ticket. Well, then he sends me 4, and I'm like, oh, shoot, I got to tell everybody else that owes me one. I got them now. So I texted a guy I went to college with 12 years ago. We were in like a leadership program. I grew up really conservative. He grew up very progressive. He was from Chicago. We were on the opposite ends, but yet we were roommates in Washington, D.C. at some progressive conference in 2007. We stayed in touch because of Facebook. A week ago, he was at the Grand Canyon, and I'm like, oh my God, like Mike, like, dude, you're in my city. Where are you at? We didn't connect. So at 4:30 yesterday, I get the email of the Blackhawk tickets, and I'm like, my man, Mike, guess who's got a Blackhawk ticket for you? He's lived here his whole life, never went to a Blackhawk game. So I was like, all right, cool. So I got him, and we had 2 extra tickets that went to waste. We went to a restaurant, grabbed a beer, and there's a loud table next to us, and there's a guy wearing a Loyola Ramblers. Now, if you know anything about what's happening in the world right now, they are a Cinderella. They're in the Final Four, they're going crazy, Chicago's on fire. So I was like, hey man, like, congrats to your Ramblers. Like, we're rambling together. Because I'm fair weather, my bracket's broken. And man, anybody with me on that? Yeah, really broken. So I was like, cool. And he said, hey, there's a guy that works with me, and this is his son. Make sure he's your favorite player. And I was like, how the world just got smaller. Like, now I have a favorite player on Loyola, so when I go home wearing my Loyola shirt I bought yesterday, like, I've been a fan forever. And I'm pumped. But then we get to the arena, and they're in a suite 2 suites down from us. I'm thinking to myself, like, this guy and I are going to be best friends. And so we popped in, and they had beer and they had hot dogs. Ours didn't have anything. So we know which suite we ended up hanging out in the whole game. My point in this story is that my man Mike, who's born and raised in Chicago, got connected with 4 people last night that also live in Chicago that would have had nothing in common, except one answered his phone to go to a Blackhawk game because one guy got free tickets on a whim. And last night, like, they were connecting on youth empowerment and Black Lives Matter and all these just incredible things that are taking place in the Chicago community, and it just manifested. And at the end of the night, he just told me, he's like, man, I'm not really outgoing. I wouldn't have never, if I saw them, I would just walk past, maybe I would wave. We like squatted on their suite because we wanted free beer and hot dogs. And the moral of my story is always say yes to free beer and hot dogs. So, kidding. But the real story is just the fact that we connected. And I got on a flight to Chicago to come to Pi, and yet I connected with a friend from 12 years ago. I made the world a smaller place and connected with 4 other business leaders in Chicago by just going in the right place at the right time. And my rally cry is don't sleep on planes. So to that, I'll get started. The entire idea of don't sleep on planes to me, like, when I leave here today, I'm probably going to take a nap on one of my legs going home. I sleep on planes just like everyone. I do it. And the part of don't sleep on planes that means the most to me is that if you have the time, just make sure that if you're going to take a nap and you're going to sleep, like, just know you did the best you could. So don't sleep on planes means if you're here at this conference and you're saying, I got to connect, I got to meet somebody, I got to do this, like, figure out and do the best you can. And if you don't, then sleep on a plane. But don't sleep on planes is so much more than that. And when we connected, Jeff and I, we had awesome coffee together. We just manifested. And I believe that you should have a cup of coffee with anyone. And this morning, I kind of failed because I had coffee by myself, but my man here in the blue, we shared an elevator together. And I was just talking to him a little bit, and I didn't know who he was, he didn't know who I was. We still don't know who each other are. But I like to think that I made a contact with him early, and now I'm calling him out, so I feel like I had coffee with him. Because that's the only person I've talked to today. So we're going to jump in, we're going to get started. The idea of don't sleep on planes. One, if you sleep on planes, somebody's going to take a picture of you like I did. And that's what happens when you sleep on a plane. But I love this photo mainly because there's so many things going on. Like, she's having the best day ever. Like, that's a good nap. Like, this guy back here saw me taking the picture and he's like, hey, hey. And I was like, no, it's not for that, I promise. She's like in the casual mode, but everyone's kind of doing their own thing. And the thought to me is, when you're on a plane, you have a couple things in common. When you're in this room at this conference, you have a couple things in common. It's like dating. Like, you want to have more things in common to manifest a positive relationship. So the theory of don't sleep on planes and why I can't believe that don'tsleeponplanes.com is available. I can't believe no one else wrote a book because everyone sleeps on planes and I just said, oh, don't do it. It worked. Everyone on the plane. You're going to the same destination. You're on the same plane on the same day. And you might be in the same row or same cabin. Like, those are so many things where you're already having opportunities to speak to each other. You're at Pi. You're all here to learn about parking. You might be from different regions. You might have the same job. You all have a name tag. So you guys are already cheating, knowing that you can know more about somebody before you talk to them. But on a plane, even when I was flying here, it was bad. I was in the last seat, in the last row, in the back corner, like, it was bad. But I was like, all right, I wear this silly hat that said don't sleep on planes. And this woman in first class, so if you fly first class, I'm talking to you. The joke that I'm going to share in a minute is like, fish where the fish are, right? First class is full of people that paid 3 times what I paid for my flight. But this woman's like, what is Don't Sleep on Planes? And I was like, oh, it's this great book. Like, you should check it out. The author's great. I was like, oh, maybe I will. But then she was like, should I be worried about sleeping on planes? And I'm like, no. Like, but then I told her, I was like, I'd love to tell you more, but I got to go back. And I didn't realize how far back I would go. Like, I was my girl back there in the corner. Like, that's where I sat on the plane. Like, all the way back there. It was so bad. But I sent her a book. I asked the flight attendant, I said, will you send this up to the lady in 3B? Like, just sell her from the young man that loves sleeping on planes. At the end of the flight, and again, like, I talk about how I think we're boys now because we connected this morning. Like, I don't know this lady from anywhere else in the world. After the flight, she goes on Instagram. She posts a picture of my book. She said, hey, like, the cover of my book, I put Don't Sleep on Planes. I didn't put, like, apostrophe from the N and the T. Like, it's not phonetically right. And she says, well, it's not phonetically right. This young man gave me a copy of his book, and I needed it more than I ever could have dreamed. And it was just so cool that here's a woman that I just made a little extra effort to just say, hey, you know what, you asked about Don't Sleep on Planes. I'd rather give you a book than keep them in my bag, so here. And it was just cool knowing that, same thing with my man right here. I'm going to come back to him a lot, because that's what speakers do. They find somebody, and they just get them. But it's just good knowing the world is a smaller place, because I gave a woman my book and said, hey, thanks for not asking about sleeping on planes. Good luck. She had 3 more flights yesterday. She ended up in England. Should have asked her where she was going. So, strangers, right? We're all taught growing up, and in this conference, there's tons of strangers. Like, you're all strangers to me. You're strangers in the industry. I rally around this because until you're 18 years old, like, if you have kids, you're like, don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Strangers are bad. But then we know when you turn 18 and you get a job and you come to conferences, your bosses or your company is relying on you to go back to your job having met impactful strangers. So in this conference, I always like to talk about their cons. Somebody in here is probably a potential criminal, and there's rejection talking to strangers. But then you think of the pros, like you can make a new friend, you can learn something new, expand your business network. These are strangers. Meet a potential mate, build confidence, develop social skills. That's what strangers do from 2nd grade when you sit next to Tommy. It's like, hey, man, you're cool because you got sat next to me and then you become best friends. Or your fiance or your wife or your husband or your partner. Like, they were all once strangers and you said, hey, you know what? Like, today, I'm telling you that I'm going to fall in love with you and we're going to get married. We all made that decision at some point in our life, whether it was your love for Dr. Pepper, your love for ham and cheese sandwiches, whatever you love the most, like your vanilla lattes. You made a decision to fall in love that day and have something new that was a stranger. So, strangers, they're important. And in this conference, you're all seeking out new strangers. So, most importantly, when you want to find success, you're targeting strangers. You didn't go to a baseball conference. You came to a parking garage conference. You came to parking news, and you're coming here to learn about parking. And whether it's understanding that you have a mission to learn something, or maybe your job just sends you here and you try to come back with a couple things, but you enjoy the happy hours, or whatever it is that you came here for, you're looking to find success in a place full of people just like yourselves. And I don't know the first thing about parking, except park it inside the lines. So maybe I know the first thing is stay inside the lines. And then take your ticket and put it on your dash, and then pay for it on the way out. But I saw today there was somebody from Tempe, Arizona, and I thought to myself, cool, I'm going to go to a conference, do the same thing as somebody from Tempe that's speaking about downtown Tempe parking. Cool, that's a stranger I want to meet today. You know who the other stranger I want to meet today? From MGM in Vegas, and they're going to talk about parking in Vegas. They charge for parking, and when you live in Phoenix, you drive to Vegas. Well, now it costs more money I should just fly and Uber. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, it's all an economic equation to me. But I want to learn from that stranger that is targeted here. There's a fish. I'm waiting for somebody to acknowledge that they're the MGM person, because I'm sure they get hotel hookups too. So, already thinking about how. So, the last piece that I threw into this slide that I want to bring later on is we're talking about parking, and we're talking about cars. There's cameras rolling, so I can just tell the truth, but Ford has more lawyers that are better than a self-published author that has one lawyer on the side. My acronym, if you take anything from this, is just take Ford. And Ford, to me, is all you should do at this conference. Ford is how do you get to know somebody. It's your family is your F, occupation, recreation, and dreams. I couldn't put it in the book because I can't say Ford. Even though it's an acronym with some periods, they still got me. But if I wanted to get to know anyone, like anything about you, if I said, hey, like, tell me about your kids, you're going to go on and on about your kids because you love your kids. You're proud of them. Look what you made. Like, this kid's great. He's going to go to college. People love talking about their families. Oh, your occupation. You're in a room already talking about your occupation, so you're going to love talking about why you're here. What do you do for a living? What issues are you facing back home? We're all passionate about our occupation. R is recreation. I already told you I went to a Blackhawk game last night. You can know that I like sports, and we're going to talk more about it, but everyone loves talking about what they do for fun because we hate working so hard. We love doing fun things on the side. And then your D is the dreams. You're all here because you have a dream, whether it's getting promoted, building a business, or growing your business, or coming back and having a good second quarter. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And people, it's like overflowing with happiness. So, when I think of Don't Sleep on Planes, and I talk about how the world is smaller, I think of the world of connections. So for people in the back, I didn't realize how small this would be, so I'll walk through it with you. But my professional background, having been here now, is I've worked in sports for the last 12 years. Now, if you've ever Googled me, I could tell like nobody recognized me walking in, so you didn't Google me, so good. I'll tell you what Google says. I was a professional mascot for 12 years. I got to be a professional t-shirt tosser and flipper and high-fiver, all these crazy things. And so when I work in sports, I put myself in the middle. But if you say, hey, I want to be a mascot and be this, and that, there are people all around you that I've built this network. One, because if you have kids, then I own it. Because like, if your kids are happy, mom or dad's happy, and if mom or dad's happy, then they owe me one. That's how I saw it. It's like, yo, I got you. Your kids, look at your kid got a t-shirt. Let's go to lunch. So in the idea of working in sports, and this could say parking industry, this could say transportation, this could say teaching, there's this whole world of connections happening around us. Now in this room, there are probably PR professionals, risk management professionals, there's general managers, contractors, whatever you do. But it takes a village. And to me, no matter what you want to do, we all got to do it together. And while I was a t-shirt tossing fanatic, and I had all the energy in the world, it still took somebody to reel me in and say, hey, you know what? It's the 7th inning. We're down 2 and bases are loaded. Tone it back. Or go get fired up. But it takes a conductor for me, right? But then that conductor became my mentor. But then we're doing all this work in the community. So then I meet somebody that's running the Boys and Girls Clubs. And then now I'm on a board there. But in this world of connections, it takes you being aware and knowing who's around you. And how can you help someone else? We'll talk about that. So the 2 points here are simple. When you find your industry, you find your connections. And if you're seeking an industry, talk to your connections. I can't work in sports forever. It's nights, it's weekends, it's holidays, it's front flips, it's back flips, it's wrist surgeries, whatever it is, working in sports for me as an entertainer, it's awesome. And I get to get fired up, and opening days on Thursday, it's the best. But I'm relying on my industry and all these connections to figure out, like, what do I want to do next? And as much as I want you to believe that this is my full-time job, traveling and speaking and eating good continental breakfasts and $6 Starbucks, it's not my life. Like, I got a wife, she takes care of me, she makes sure I'm not spending $6 on Starbucks. So in my industry, I made some connections. And now through those connections, I'm going to figure out what my next industry is. So whether you're passionate about what you're doing now, whether you're passionate about something else, there's probably somebody in this room that's going to either ignite you to find that passion and say, you know what, like, you should come do this or do that, or why haven't you tried this, haven't you tried that? And I'm going to be frank with you, I have no idea what I'm doing next. just got married, 31 years old. I feel like I'm at a midlife crisis, but like the midlife crisis, because I've worked in sports. Sports is the coolest thing in the world, but working in sports is full of sexiness. But yet they can pay you nothing because there's another kid coming out of college that can't wait to have your job. So at some point you have this idea of what do you do next? And so this entire world of connections, this entire don't sleep on planes, forward everything. I am praying, and I'm grateful earlier saying like, I practice what I preach, and I love this stuff because I have all these connections that need me for being a mascot. So what happens if I'm not a mascot anymore? Like, does my phone still work? I don't know. Do people answer? Like, if I can't leave them tickets? But whatever that is, if somebody's calling you, our guy at the ballpark, his name is JD, and in my phone, I'll have to show you it. It's JD the parking guy. JD can have whatever he wants because he runs the parking garage at the ballpark. So when my friends come to a game, when like people that I'm trying to impress, I'm like, hey, I got you tickets and I got you parking. Like you can walk right in, you're not paying $10. Like JD's got a spot in the front. And they're like, man, Zach knows everybody. I'm like, JD, I got you lunch, I promise. But he has all the power in the world because he's expediting a stress. And what I want to do in my life is just help people expedite their stresses because you're just having an understanding of empathy. And so to kind of bring it full circle, working as a mascot, I get to help people all the time. There's no strings attached. I could just show up and help. Whatever that is for you, whatever you can do to expedite somebody else's stresses, like find that and harness it because that's your ability to impact somebody's day. Like the barista this morning. How many of you guys grabbed the coffee? Can you imagine if that barista was like, sorry, like you're gonna have to wait, or if they were rude? Like you can't be rude if you're a barista. Like I'm coming to you because I'm already rude. I need to get jacked up and keep it moving. And to me, that's where we're going to come into the Embrace Your Mask stuff shortly. So, intermittently, I'm going to tell an embarrassing story because we're in Chicago. When I talk about fish where the fish are, we're in this awesome room full of professionals that have invested time and money getting here and walking away. So in this picture, this is Chicago 2012. We're at downtown Weston Hotel. This is a bell cart, like a Bellman cart. And I told you I'm a mascot. So I'm like, all right, I'm in Chicago. The D-backs are playing the Cubs. I'm going to go to Wrigley. I get here on a Wednesday. We don't play until Friday. I don't have a hotel. Chicago's expensive. So I went on Facebook. I'm going to open up my heart now. Like, I was like, hey, I'm in Chicago. If anybody knows anybody's got a couch, like, I'm in. Nobody responded. So now I'm like, all right, I'll get like a Motel 6 or something like that. So our owner has a place at Lake Point Tower, which is over by Navy Pier. Silly. And I know he does like a wine party. So I'm like, I gotta go. Fish where the fish are, right? Like, this is the owner of the team. I got invited. I'm in Chicago. That's probably good wine. I can see the Navy Pier. Get my little selfie on. Let everybody know I'm balling. Because I'm at the Motel 6. So I went to H&M and I bought pants and a shirt with no hotel. So I went to the bellman and I was like, hey, like, I'm with the Diamondbacks. Like, my room's not ready yet. I need a place to iron my clothes. I'm going to a party tonight. So I ironed my clothes in the hotel lobby. And I asked him for an iron and a towel, and I had to go fill it up in the water fountain, and I ironed my clothes right here. And you can see, like, these people right here, oh, they were like, this poor kid. Like, I couldn't believe that I went this. I go to the party, and the owner's cool, and I meet one of his tenants. He has, like, 2 places. And his tenant was like, all right, like, what's your deal? I'm like, oh, the mascot, I'm in Chicago, just got here by myself. He's like, well, where are you staying? I was like, oh, I got this great Motel 6 outside the city. Like, I'm talking, like, outside the city for $40. He's like, no, you're sleeping in my house. You got whatever, you can crash here. And I'm like, man, I got a big fish on them. Reel them in. Like, I got a place on the Navy Pier. Like, to this day, this guy's turned into my mentor. He works here at Morgan Stanley. He takes my $5 and makes it $7. That's where I'm at right now. So yesterday, I was so jacked up to come here on happy hour and be like, hey, like, hanging out. Look what we did. Like, I'm in Chicago on somebody else's dime. Like, yeah. In this moment, I put myself in a position with wealthy individuals that were far and beyond anything I've achieved so far in my life. But I knew I was in the same room, and I was just like, hey, yep, he's the owner, I'm the mascot, we run things. But fish where the fish are is just kind of something that's an age-old thing, and in this room, I know there's the MGM guy, or girl, or whatever. There's a fish in here, and I'm gonna figure out, I'm gonna say MGM 10 times. Or the guy from Tempe. I love it, and I know that there's that fish in this room, or this hotel, and I will seek them out. But it's having an awareness or understanding of what fish you're seeking. So, jump into the Embrace Your Mask. Why the mask? We talk about why Halloween is so much fun. Halloween is so much fun because we get to wear a mask. We get to wear whatever we want. So, this is my beautiful wife. Her and I decided we would be the Wizard of Oz. to know now I'm a mascot. You know I gotta get the face paint. That's a Hollywood-worthy costume. It was sweaty and heavy, but we killed it. But I sweat for a living, so it was good. But embrace your mask. The entire idea that I think is like my $1 million move. Embrace your mask is simple. I talk about the barista. I talk about Halloween. When you're inside of a mask, you can do whatever you want. I'm a mascot. What do you want? I'm gonna walk on chairs. I'm gonna sit next to you. Put my feet on your shoulders. Like mascots can get away with whatever they want because there's a guy in that mask that is just doing whatever. But that's his job or her job. So Halloween, we all get fired up, and whether it's your kids and they get to be a pirate, you empower them and you get them excited to be the best pirate they can be. What if I told you that we're all mascots, and when you got your little lanyard on that says you're Joe from the parking in Massachusetts, like cool, you're the parking guy in Massachusetts. You're JD, the parking guy for Massachusetts. But in that role, in that mask, like you got power, and whatever it is you do. So in your mask, you find out whatever it is that you're supposed to do, and you embrace it. So my great question is, if you work in a pirate, everybody, what does a pirate say? Arr. It's universally known. Everyone knows that pirates say arr. Now, when you check into this hotel, the people at the front desk, how do they treat you? Like, hey, miss, hey, sir, how are you? Welcome to your stay. They're in the hospitality industry. What if they flip the script and they're like, what are you doing here? Like, that's just not what they do. Like, we all know that if you're at the front desk, like, yes, I'm here. Please check me in. Hey, let me get an upgrade. MGM guy, can I get an upgrade? Like, the point is that's what they do. Their mask is to be a guest service hospitality professional. And whenever you see them, you're saying like, hey, thank you so much for checking me in. Please give me a good room. Like, no, I don't want 2 double beds. Like, I got 2 double beds. Like, whatever. But she gave me a balcony, so I was cool with it. Except I overlooked the airport and it's raining. Bad trade on my part, but I'm pumped. Point is that professional at the front desk, every day, they see people. And when they're looking at you checking in, like there's the next person behind you, the next person behind you, then there's somebody with status that expects something or this or that, but they are embracing their mask every day. Hi, how are you? Welcome to blank hotel. They embrace that mask. And I talk about the barista because the barista hits home to me. I love when my barista has got a great smile and a good energy because I'm like, that's why I'm paying 3 times as much as I should be for a latte. Because that person is like saying, hey, good morning, Mr. Sir, how are you? Great, thank you. Can I get a latte? Yes, you may. Anything else I can get for you? Fine, I'll have a chocolate chip cookie. It's 8. I'm fine. Like, that's that person doing their thing. So, embracing your mask. So let's jump into the mask. We'll understand what it is. So, M-A-S-K. M. I'm into acronyms. It's good. They sell. Mindset. Because whenever you're wearing your mask, you got to get your mind right. In my life, being a mascot, yes, kids pull my tail. Yes, kids ask if there's a human inside of there. Yes, they ask if your ears are real. Like, those times really stink because you're like, man, this kid grabbed my tail one more time. But that's my life. So I gotta get my mind right. I gotta know that I'm gonna be out in an arena. I got here this morning, like, I don't know anything about you. I don't know what any of you are hoping to get from this outside the fact that you said I gotta be there 8, next year to be at 9. We had talked about it. Whatever it is, you had to get your mind right, knowing that you're going to get your day going with your coffee, you're going to sit in this little keynote, some guy's going to be cheerleading, rah-rahing you, and you just want to get onto your 9 o'clock, right? You got to get your mind right. And to that, I think you'll understand mindset. Second part is your attitude. And I pulled these off dictionary.com. I didn't cite them because, it's just dictionary.com. But your attitude is the way you approach things. It's how you understand how life happens. I'm very much an extrovert, and in writing this book and doing these keynotes, I try to do the best I can to find how to give the best advice if you're not an extrovert. And to that I go back to the Ford thing, and I talk about attitude. Like, even if you're not extroverted, but you have a smile or just a little bit of empathy, if somebody's like, hey, do you mind if I do this? And they're with their kid and their kid's crying, like, sometimes I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, you got way more than I can handle, go on in. But it's having that understanding, like every day, you just have a little bit of empathy on your shoulder. And through the attitude side, how many of you guys have to be at work like in rush hour? Every day. Just me. Great. Awesome. So rush hour sucks. And why does rush hour suck? Because everyone's like moving in, they won't let you over, people are frustrated. I was flying back from Tampa Bay after my first keynote, and this guy I sat next to, I got upgraded, my first ever upgrade. It's awesome. And fish where the fish are. This guy was like a lawyer, and he like was a headhunter, and he's hunting people down, and like Dog the Bounty Hunter. Like, this guy was cool. And he talked to me about your car called life. And I'm like, all right, like, dude, I'm not into cars and life and analogies. I'm into acronyms. And he talked to me about it because attitude starts the minute you get in your car and you spill your coffee and the kids are late to school and, you know, whatever happened and you got makeup on your dress and you had to change 3 shirts and this one was worn 2 days ago, but for some reason it's fine. Your car called life. And once I got back, after I got back to Phoenix, I'm in my car, I'm like, this car called life thing's silly. And I'm driving, I'm like, all right, I see. Like, you got somebody that's just rocking out to Taylor Swift, and you're like, that car of life is good. But then you realize what's going on in your car and your attitude. And if you're driving in rush hour, you're not setting yourself up for success because you're already frustrated. You're like, man, this sucks every single day. I go to this boring job, sitting in rush hour, I spill my coffee. A lot of the days you're like, man, it's Friday, it's payday, and it's all about your attitude and the way you see things. And so the car called life is something that stuck with me. If you want to take it with you, take it with you. But next time you're driving, just think about it like your car called life. Like, whatever you're dealing with, maybe you've got a nice car. And you're like, you know what? Like, made the car payment on time, insurance is good, tires are up, like I didn't wake up to my car being keyed. Then you look over and you see somebody that's just cruising, they got 3 flats and a hubcap and a window down in the back and 3 screaming kids, and you're like, man, like, I'm so grateful that that's not my car called life. But every day there's a car passing by you at some speed or cutting you off, and whatever they're going through, the best thing you can handle is your own attitude. So that one means the most to me. Being a mascot, we don't talk. So ironically, I have the coolest job in the world and the most ironic job in the world. So that I love to talk, and this is the coolest job. And that job, I have to understand my senses. And just like I'm up here right now, like looking around, trying to make eye contact, understand who's checking Facebook, whatever, like do your thing, this is your time. It's good. But it's understanding senses. Can you imagine how hard it is to not only A, be in a costume, but then have to verbalize what I'm trying to tell people, and then have to understand that, like, I'm sweaty, I'm tired, and I know you said, 1 more, please, my kids, 1 more. Yo, that was the last 5 people with 1 more. You're like 7 more, lady. I have to have senses. I got to understand, I got to be able to hear, I got to see. And the coolest part about being a mascot is they take my mouth away. So I do have to see more, I have to hear more, I have to feel more. And whatever that is to you, like, I come back to empathy and attitude. It's just understanding the senses and just being aware. Much like I did my research on other keynote speakers, much like I did my research on what's happening in Chicago. I think I just set myself up for success because I understood my senses. Like, I knew it was going to be raining. What do? We all packed a coat. Like, you're already planning senses for other things. Why don't you start planning your senses for people? And that to me is, I'm so grateful that I was given this ability to work well with people. Like, I would hate inside sales, sitting at a cube making calls all the time. I know that. But I just know that this is where I need to be, and I tell you the same thing, like, open up your senses and just see what's outside of you when you're working with people. The K, it's just your knowledge. Again, I got my start in mascotting, having never been a mascot. I just wanted to work for the Suns. And I went to Shaq's kid's birthday party as like an inflatable gorilla. Paid $100 an hour, and I got Shaq's house. Shaq, I'll tell you what, I've been bouncing around my whole life. And paid me $300 cash. It's cool. I had to have the knowledge. So you're all here to gather maybe some networking, maybe some contacts, but you're all here to get more knowledge. Because whatever the industry is going on right now, like, you saw a value to give your time, your treasures, and your talents to come here and understand that here's what I need to learn from this. You're gaining more knowledge. So in your mask, your mindset's already right. Like, I'm going to go and be the best professional I can be. You got your mind right. Your attitude, you're like, all right, I got to get my business cards in my pocket, got my coffee in my hand, like, I got my attitude. Your senses, okay, I got to, like, figure out, like, what your things say. My senses are on, like, that's my man Ross, cool. Your senses are on. And then your knowledge is, what do you know and what are you trying to help everyone here? I would love to know more about every one of you. Like, I wish there was like The Sims, if I could just, like, ding, that guy does this, ding, that guy does that. Like, I think it's cool what you guys, and I have no idea outside the fact that the best friend at the Diamondbacks for me is the parking guy. And that's when this manifested. I was like, yeah, I know about parking conferences. Yeah, I'm in for that. But it's not. It's about empathy and people. And that's what I think. I'm so grateful that I get to be here and just tell you that it's about people. So, speaking of people, we'll talk about masks. This is me on the left, pouring popcorn on a Dodger fan. Because we hate the Dodgers! We hate them! And when they lost in the World Series, I was so pumped. Like, I was anti-Dodgers. That is my mask. And inside of my mask, I get to do things like that. I'm standing on a chair. That's HR is going nuts. Risk management's freaking out. This guy, I'm probably getting greasy popcorn on his dad's jersey. Like, legal is probably wondering, we're going to have to find that guy in a jersey. And then can you imagine if he had a peanut allergy or something, and there was, oh my God, those are the things I have to think about. But in my mask, I'm letting every Diamondback, look at these 2 Diamondback fans right there, they know. She's trying to catch popcorn, I think. But they know that that guy should not be sitting in good seats, not in my ballpark, and in my mask, if you're a Dodger fan, you better take it on home. But I'm allowed to do that in my mask. And I come back to the barista thing. God, the guy's got a smile, on time, some fresh milk, barista, embracing the mask. So whatever your mask is, rock it. Because at the end of the day, I thought to myself, I used to dream about working in sports. When I get back home tonight, we have stuff tomorrow, opening day Thursday, stuff on Friday, Saturday, Sunday's Easter. Now is the time in which I have to work 20 days in a row. And I can complain, and my wife, I go home, God, this sucks, I got 5 more ball games. Think about the opposite. When did I turn my resume in for this job, and I'm please God, let me get this job? I have to remind myself every day that I put myself in this car called life. I'm the one that hopped in this car called sports, the one that has to work in baseball, the model, whatever it is. Whatever your mask is, whatever your lanyard says, you dreamed of getting that job at some point in your life. And whatever that dream was, it's still there, keep going, that's why you're here. And if it's not there, you're here to learn how to do more things, I'm sure. But embrace your mask is probably what I should start saying at these things is embrace your lanyard, right? Hey, I'm Joe from Philly, what's up? Cool, tell me more. Or I'm Paul from MGM or whatever, whatever your mask is. Or the dude from Tempe, I love Tempe, there's a great new coffee shop and I can't wait. Jeff and I went to coffee and it was awesome. We, middle of Tempe, we both had to pay for parking that day. We should have known this guy, we looked fine. We bought him coffee and saved him 2-for-1 parking. Whatever your mask is, the coolest part about getting to do this job for a living is I get to tell funny stories about what it's like working for a baseball team, throwing t-shirts, picking on Dodger fans. And at some point, in that mask, I get to choose to rock it. And there's Tuesday night games against the Marlins, where there's 10,000 people there, and you're what am I doing? But I still gotta put the costume on, I still gotta go out there, and I still gotta see a kid, and still gotta high five, and whatever it is. So there's highs and lows in everybody's job, but whatever your mask is, find it. So I try to answer some of these questions. In going through this, talking about mask, your mindset, your attitude, your senses, and your knowledge. If you don't got your mind right, you're not going to set yourself up for success. If you've got a bad attitude, you're going to attract bad attitudes. If your senses are off, then you're going to be wrecked. And if your knowledge is bad, you have to find out what you need to know to find your success, right? So that's how we all got to where we are. Think about a doctor. And I think about this a lot, if a doctor had a lack of knowledge, you'd be man, where did I end up at? Some of those urgent cares. You know what you sign up for when you go to urgent care. But we rely on doctors and dentists and lawyers every day. We're paying them way more money per hour than most of us, I know there's some rich people here, than most of us make per hour. But understanding mindset, attitude, senses, and knowledge. No matter what you do, those 4 components are all on you. It's you being alert in your senses. It's you having put together your name tag on your credential, and it's your attitude and your mindset. So to me, I think we're all mascots. And the sooner you understand that you're a mascot, find your t-shirts and throw them. And high five everybody. We just walked in, I was giving everybody hugs. People probably think I'm the weirdest person in the world because I'm hey, nice to meet you, come on in. At least we're talking to each other. I just give hugs to strangers for a living. I'm so used to just hugging random people. I'm the person that goes to family and you're oh, Uncle Paul, good to see you. I don't know, I like hugs. But whatever that is, I found my mask and I rock it. And I think that in my moments dealing with people, I just try to bring whatever God-given energy I have. Cool, if that's my car called life, I'm right on behind you, we're drafting together. So that's my mask piece. So now we're at a conference. My favorite slide of them all. I call it Carl the Card Collector. No one likes a Carl. If your name's Carl, you probably come from a great family. But no one likes a Carl the Card Collector. The card collector is simple. If you go to these happy hours, you go to these mixers, it's hey, what do you do? Let me get your card. Hey, what do you do? Let me get your card. Oh, hey, what do you do? No one likes the card collectors. We get it. You got first place. You got more paper than anybody knows what to do with. I firmly believe when you come to these things, let it manifest. And say, hey, man, nice to meet you. You too. Here's my card. And get to know somebody rather than just making sure, oh, my God, did I get that person's card? Because I know they work at I'm gonna stop saying the other one, like, man, I know they work at the Forum in LA, and I know when I drive to LA, like, it sucks, I can't get parking, like, I gotta make sure, that MGM guy, like, I'm probably not gonna meet him today, whatever. But I'm gonna look him up on LinkedIn, believe that, right? That's my next slide, I jumped ahead, but nobody likes a Carl. And I just remind you, like, as you get to know people here, find out their forward and build those deeper relationships, because the one thing I've learned in life is people like doing business with people who they like. I could sell you up the stream. Like, I hope all of you buy a book. But guess what? If you don't like me, like this guy wrote some dumb book about sleeping on planes. Like, I sleep on planes. I want to know more. Like, people like doing business with people they like. And when you're at these conferences, like, do coffee with somebody. Or you all had breakfast this morning. And you're all going to go on with the rest of your day. Like, find these moments in which you're already going to be at an intersection of, hey, I'm hungry. Me too. And it's like high school. Everyone sits together every single day. You didn't come here to sit at the same table. Like, get out there a little bit and understand, like, people that came here are just like you. They came here to learn more and meet more. So the next slide is exactly what I said a minute ago. Like, I don't know who you are, but I will look you up on LinkedIn. I asked you earlier about the power of social media. In 2018, social media is awesome because you can learn anything about anyone, because every day we're putting data. We're just putting all this. Facebook's in trouble right now for this. But I love LinkedIn because I can learn, how did you get where you are? Where did you go to school? I can prepare for any meeting I want with anyone in the world if they have a LinkedIn. Now, I told you we met those people last night at the Blackhawks game. And we all connected. And I was like, yeah, you get my card, buy my book, it's on the back, whatever. They're like, no, like, I want to stay connected. Like, do you have Instagram? I was like, yeah, I love Instagram. We added each other on Instagram. Then we added each other on Facebook. And then he added me this morning on LinkedIn. We made that deeper rooted connection. And I tell you this when it comes to social media. I do believe that there's work life and there's family life. And there shouldn't be that little gray area in between. It's always awkward for all of us. But the value of social media today, I think, is important. Because if I want to get your card, when am I going to use your card? When I need something, right? I'm going to email you like, hey, I'm actually coming to XYZ and I'm going to need some whatever. That's it. You're never going to shoot an email like, hey, Paul, hope you're having a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Wednesday. Hope you're having a great day. You're never going to do that. But on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, like maybe somebody got a promotion, or maybe somebody shared a great article, or maybe it's Twitter or Instagram, and they're just saying like, hey, check out my son. He just graduated from high school. That extra touch point you can get through social media is why businesses are finding ways to succeed now. Because you're always looking for more opportunities to touch your customers. Hey, how can we just let them know we're still here? Like, hey, hope you're doing well. Social media is one of those platforms. And when we talk about following up, shooting a little note, it takes seconds. We're on our phones all day, answering emails, checking Facebook, swiping Twitter. Like, Twitter to me is like my newspaper. Instagram to me is like my highlight reel. And then Facebook's like what my mom's doing today. Right? Like, Mom, I know you're good. Like, I get it. She just shared, like, my son is the greatest son in the world. Share 10 times for good luck forever. Like, cool, Mom, I get it. You got good luck and you're good at son. But Facebook or LinkedIn, there's just additional ways to find those touch points. And I think when you leave conferences like this, it all comes back to the follow-up. And how are you following up with each other? How are you following up with your clients, with your guests? Follow-up to me, and you could tell, I would just sit here and you could tell me how you follow up. But I think we all know, like, you could meet somebody great that's going to change your business. But if they don't follow up, if I'm knocking on your door like, sir, like, please, like, I really want it, I'm telling you everything you want to hear. And you're like, yeah, sure, here's my card, or add me on LinkedIn on Tuesday, give me a call. All right. Then it's Thursday, then it's Friday, then it's 2 weeks from now. I'm like, hey, sir, like, remember me? You're like, yeah, I told you to call me and you didn't. Follow-up is the one thing that leads us all to failure. So what if you started getting creative? And all of our companies are doing like cell phone chargers and stick-it notes or the branding. All I do, and you find out whatever this is for you, is I'm a mascot. I send a baseball card and a handwritten note every time I meet somebody. If I meet you here today and we exchange cards, like, you can, maybe you're all going to give me cards now because you want a baseball card. Like, I get it. I see right through you all. But, like, that's what I do. And I just make sure that people remember that they had a chance to get connected with me. So that way, anywhere they go in life, not only do they have my business card sitting on their desk, but maybe they put, like, a little picture of Baxter on their cubicle or their office, or a picture with their kids. Or anytime they come through Phoenix, they know, like, man, this guy has all this energy. Anytime you do come through Phoenix, like, I'm like the Convention Visitors Bureau. Like, tell you the best coffee shops, the best taco places. In the book, I talk about like this place called Diego Pops. Like, not all tacos are created equal. And I tell you that because people like doing business with people they like. It's my buddy from Detroit, Michigan. Like,
moved out to Phoenix to get a job at the Hyatt, and then fell in love with the hospitality industry. Now he runs a taco shop. Are they the best tacos in the world? I doubt it. But they're the best tacos in the world to me because of the person that runs it, because people like doing business with people they like. So my follow-up to that is every time he meets somebody, he gives them a free taco. It's whatever. It costs him 74 cents, and if they can come in and build business, we're all trying to build repeat business. Speaking of tacos, I mentioned this earlier, you can never know too many people. Now, as a man, I remember going through high school and liking a girl, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna put you in the friend zone. Man, I already have a lot of friends that are girls. I need a girlfriend. And you realize you can never have too many friends that are people or girls or whatever. And I think to myself today, we all think we know a lot of people. But as we get older, we start shifting people out and we welcome people in. You can never, if I had never met Jeff, I wouldn't have been here, right? And to that, it's what if I said, hey, we have nothing in common. This is never gonna work. But instead I'm like, hey man, yeah, nice to meet you. Here's my card, let's get together. You can never know too many people. And just like the people I met last night, I have no idea. Maybe they tricked me. I don't know what they needed from me. But I was like, yeah, sure, here's my card. Let's stay in touch. I love it because now whenever I come to Chicago, I've got one more person. I couldn't imagine if I got here yesterday and I had nothing to do all day. This is a beautiful city and I would have loved seeing it, but I love having built relationships over my life in Chicago. Whether it's sports related, whether it's restaurant related, awesome. It's so much fun going places when you know people. That's why we like socializing. That's the best. So my secret to you is, if you meet somebody here, have a meal with them. If you're back home and this is way more high school and college, but it works, is if there's somebody in your network, or even if there's somebody that works with you, works for you, you know the value of a meal? It's the best. You love sharing a meal with somebody because A, you're starving, and B, hopefully you guys are on the same page, hey, I'm gonna grab Taco Tuesday today, me too, cool. And you're gonna share a Taco Tuesday together. But then you're gonna realize the deeper roots there. And when you share a meal with somebody, I go back to dating. Like when I met my wife, we talked about going to lunch forever because I was volunteering, trying to raise money for the homeless. And we texted for 2 weeks and it shapeshifted. We went to happy hour for 5 hours. It's dang, all right. Bill was a little light up there, but we shared a meal. And over that meal, we bonded in different ways. And so to you, I challenge you, find meals. And also there's cameras rolling and I can say this because it's my lawyer and whatever, but there's a great book called Never Eat Alone. It's a great blueprint for don't sleep long planes. And so I read the book and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do the same thing and just tell my own stories. But through that book, Never Eat Alone, I found my principles. Awesome, this is what this guy did. I think he wrote it in the 2000s. I was like, cool, Never Eat Alone, that's a great rally cry. And I started practicing it. I'm like, oh cool. And then turned into don't sleep long planes. And I think about those meals and flights. So lastly, this is the very end. We're in the 9th inning. We're almost all done. I believe in life, we don't keep score. And I tell you this story on the very end, is in life, we are always about what can you do for me and what have you done for me lately? I had a friend of mine that runs a t-shirt company. The t-shirt company is called State 48, and it's named after the 48th state, which is Arizona. That's right. I was wearing a shirt yesterday, and he's like, Arkansas! And I was like, that's right. She worked at TSA, which says a lot about you, know what I mean? I was like, oh, Arkansas, oh, great, nice to meet you, good luck. And so this guy from State 48 was like, hey man, I want to meet Luis Gonzalez, World Series hero, if I give him t-shirts. And I was like, I work for the team and Gonzo and I are boys, but Gonzo owes me one. So if I introduce you to him, then there goes my one. And as I said that, I was like, oh my God, I'm just hoarding a contact. But then I thought to myself, what if, Gonzo loves these shirts, so what if I was the middleman that instead of saying, what have either of you done for me because I don't want to burn my bridge, I was like, you know what, if I introduce the two of them and something big happens, I get even more I did this. So I introduced the two of them, they gave each other shirts, State 48, Loving Arizona. It now turned into $1 million partnership with the Diamondbacks over 5 years where they're selling t-shirts from a local company. They print in a shop no bigger than this, and they're in a ballpark, and they're killing it. And then that relationship with the Diamondbacks allowed them to go to the Suns and the Cardinals. And I have nothing to do with their business, outside the fact that I made one introduction here, another one there, but I thought to myself, who am I? These aren't my contacts. These are people that said, hey, you're somebody else that I'd love to be in touch with, but I'm in touch with a lot of other people. And I realized, don't keep score. I introduced two people that maybe they would have met down the road, but at the time and place that I was able to introduce them, I impacted their railroad tracks. And I was like, oh, cool, here you guys go, cross paths. And it's now turned in. And now, we don't keep score. Do I owe you a beer? Do you owe me a beer? We're friends, we're family, we're colleagues, whatever. It all works itself out in the end. My thought to here is this, what if Like right here, they gave you 1, you gave them 4. At some point, every inning is more life. Like we all know at the very end, the score settles. Like there's a number at the very beginning, there's a dash, they always say, and then there's a number at the end. Like that's what we're all here for. There's that little dash. And in my dash, I'm like, okay, like if I can help a few people here today, we all believe in goodwill, like, oh, you know, what have I done for others? And it's that whole idea that we're in this car called life and we're all in this track together, and it's the Life 500, and we're just cruising every single day, Monday through Friday. It's life. So with that, we found the end. And we found the end right in time when we have some extra time just to go do whatever you want to do. But most importantly, I just want to let you all know, like, it's awesome having this opportunity to do what I love. I hope you see my passion. I hope you took something from this. On your flight home, I know you'll have been at a conference. Take your naps. Like, say hello to your neighbor, because you never fall asleep next to somebody you don't know, right? Like, hey, Carol, cool, nice to meet you. You good? My purse is good? Okay, cool. Like, that's the one thing you should take from this, is at least know Carol's name before you pass out on her. Because we all know you're probably leaning a little bit. But with that, I brought some books. If you'd like to purchase a copy, I'll be in the back for $10. Love to sell a book if you like one.